This is Adam Anderson, and welcome to DID Q&A, D&I Questions and Answers. And so, in this episode, I want to answer your questions and questions I received from my Facebook page and people who were emailing me, asking me different questions about DID. And so, let's get started. The first question I received is, how did you know you had DID, or Dissociative Identity Disorder? Well, when it came to me in my system, I realized I had DID around the age of, I'll say, 10 or 11 and possibly 12. It's kind of blurry in that area of my memory. But basically, my mom took me to a child psychologist, and that child psychologist diagnosed me with what was known then as MPD, multiple personality disorder. And so that's how I got my first diagnosis of DID or MPD. It was during that time when I was like around, of course, I'd say 10, 11, 12. Again, that's kind of blurry. I asked my mom, she didn't know exact age, but it was definitely before my teens. That's one thing my mom has told me about it. And so, yes, that's when I was first diagnosed under that criteria of MPD. And so I got re-diagnosed just recently under the new guidelines of DID, Dissociative Identity Disorder, by my therapist. And so right now I'm under that umbrella, but I'm also under the umbrella of MPD as well, and within my medical records. And so that's how I knew I had DID, is by, of course, seeing a therapist and finding out what's going on with me. And plus I had other signs too, as losing time, switching into different personas or different identities, and not knowing who I am sometimes. And also flashbacks that I will get sometimes. And also just fear around certain individuals I knew that hurt me then, that caused the DID then, but they no longer are around because they're dead. But at that point, I had a lot of fear of those people. And so anyway, that's how I knew I had DID, or back then, MPD. Here's a second question. Do you get along with your headmates or your alters? I would say yes and no. It depends. I would say I get along with them. Yes, I guess I will say that. I guess what I'm thinking of, do you ever get into an argument with your alters or headmates? And that is definitely a yes, because my headmates have their own different opinions about politics, about religion, about science, about almost anything that you can think of. They have different opinions, even when it comes to food. And so, yeah, I will say that I do get along with them, but I always agree with my headmates. And so sometimes there can be like an inner world argument that take place within my mind that happens to me. And sometimes it can be funny, because sometimes they can make a funny comment, or sometimes they may try to insult me, but it comes out really, really hilarious, and I end up laughing my ass off. And so I'll be like in the middle of Target, it's like in a line, and they'll just say some random shit, and I'll just be like trying to hold my laughter in. And I'm just smirking my ass off because it's just so funny. I'm like, how do you think of that stuff, And so, yeah, I would say I get along with the alters, yeah, but I don't always agree with the alters. And believe me, if they were fronting right now, they'll say the same thing, that we get along, but we don't always agree. Even my prosecutor, Kevin, I get along with him. He's more like a prosecutor / protector, so he can get intense sometimes, but most of the time, he's kind of matured a bit, a lot, I guess I would say. More than a bit, I would say a lot. And so our relationship is definitely more solid now with Kevin. And the 16 other alters, because we have 17 in our system, I get along pretty well with them. And some are our main fronters and some are not. And so, yeah, I would say I get along well with them. Next question. Do you have any advice for those who are considering themselves to be multiple or may think they have DID? Yes, I will have some advice for those people who may think that you may be multiple, or may think you may even have dissociative identity disorder. First of all, I would say is go to counseling or go to a therapist. I think that's the best way for you to understand. And don't get me wrong, every therapist knows what DID is, unfortunately. Even when I talk to my therapist, he says they looked over DID like once. He says there was like a short 30-minute thing they went over, like a chapter in a book about it in psychology class, and that was kind of his moment of understanding DID, but that's about it. And so some of psychologists don't actually get schooled in it as much. And some, those who are schooled in it, they did their own research. They actually looked into it themselves. And so I would say, yes, go to a psychologist or a therapist or a social worker that understands trauma. If you find one that specializes in trauma, chances are to be more open to trauma disorders. And dissociative identity disorder, which is in the DSM, is a trauma-based disorder. And so, yeah, so one of the signs is if you feel like you're losing time, you feel that that you switch between different types of personas, or maybe you feel that you got identity confusion. That happens too as well. Or maybe that you are going through different flashbacks, that you feeling that these memories are coming, you don't know where they're coming from. Or sometimes you hear voices, and hearing voices is very calming in DID. The voices are not like schizophrenia, where the voices are outside of yourself. They're more like voices that are within your head. And so, so if you feel like you may have DID, because you may feel like, that more than one soul is kind of living in your body, if you feel that, I would say first, go and talk to a professional. And also do some research online, because we got something amazing now called the internet. And so go to reputable sources. There's a nice article on WebMD about dissociative identity disorder, which is a great read. And also just find there's other reputable sources out there. So make sure that it's a reputable source, and find out if you think you meet the criteria of that. I'm not telling you to self-diagnose, but what I'm saying is that once you feel like you have that information, then you can make an informed decision whether to see a trauma-based specialist that can help you out. This is the next question. Do you think dissociative identity disorder is really demon possession? No. Dissociative identity disorder is definitely not demon possession. And a little bit about my past, I actually went to Bible school, which is basically seminary, to study to become a pastor. And so I have over 25 years of pastoral ministry. I was a youth pastor for maybe roughly 15 years. And so I kind of know ministry. And also when I left the church, I got involved in the New Age, something completely opposite in Christianity. Even got involved in the occult and understand the occult very, very well. I've studied demonology. I've studied all this stuff. And I would say with 100% confidence that dissociative identity disorder is not demon possession. In order for a demon to possess somebody, that person has to give themselves over to that demon. In other words, there has to be an open door. And that's how demons or spirits get through, is because there's an open door, or there's a portal that's open. Now, there's no portal that's open when a child gets traumatized by getting taken advantage of by an authority figure, someone that they trust, and that they may have crossed the line and done something wrong, whether it's physical abuse, whether it's mental abuse, whether it's sexual abuse, whatever it may be. That is not something that you did by your own free will. And so in order for a demon to come inside of you, you have to initiate it by your own free will. And free will is a very powerful thing in the spirit world. Free will is something that God honors, and free will is even something that the other spirits and evil spirits honor too as well. Because you got to give yourself over to that thing willingly. This just can't come into your person and do shit. It doesn't work that way. And also with demon possession, one of the signs of it is supernatural power. Now, most people I know, I think 100% of people I know basically with DID don't have supernatural power. My alters can't do anything supernatural. My alters don't let me to fly, or don't give me languages I never heard before. I'm not able to lift a car up. I'm not able to do anything supernatural that you'll see in a horror movie. I'm not able to do that because my alters don't have that ability to do that. And so if you had a demon, yes, a demon, of course, will show their power, because, again, a demon is supposed to be an evil spirit. And one of the telltale signs of evil spirit is called pride. In other words, the demon will operate in the 7 deadly sins. One of the 7 deadly sins is called pride. And so in order to be prideful and feel powerful, you will display that power by showing people how powerful you are, by moving objects, by moving things that are naturally impossible to do, but that person doing, again, with their mind over matter kind of thing. And so I would say 100% no, dissociative identity disorder is not demonic possession. And those people who no pun intended, but demonize people with DID, is because those people are self-righteous. I see a lot of Christians who are self-righteous, even non-Christians who are just very, very religious, or you don't necessarily be a Christian. You can be any kind of religion and be self-righteous and say, well, that person has a demon, blah, 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 because you want to make yourself feel all good and all kind of cool, but not knowing that you're actually doing one of the 7 deadly sins as well, and that's pride. And so I will say no, 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 no. People with DID are not demon possessed, and those who say it do a big damage to the gospel. And now, if you know what the gospel is basically Jesus coming to the world and dying for the sins of mankind. And that the fact that he showed unconditional love to mankind. And so if you're calling someone with DID a demon, basically you are cutting that person off from Christ. You're cutting that person off from the love of God, because if you're going to demonize that person, why would they want to go to your Jesus? Why would they want to go to your church? In other words, why would they want to subscribe to your theology if you're just going to condemn them? And so again, no. I've dealt with both. I've seen demon possession straight up. I've seen it before, doing exorcism before. I've seen it before, and that person had no mental illness at all, and I've seen it before. And I've seen physical objects move before by doing these things. But people with DID, and I'm part of the DID community, I have DID myself, I've never seen anything supernatural take place with DID. And so the answer is no. Do you think women get diagnosed with DID more than males? Yes. I really feel that that's a good question. That yes, you'll see more females diagnosed with DID sometimes than you do see men that are diagnosed with DID. And I think personally that the numbers are probably the same. Who knows? I'm not sure. I don't know the statistics of men versus women with DID. But the reason why I think women get it diagnosed more than men, because I think men don't want to go to therapy. I think that's the reason why, because men, they have this macho thing. I don't need to go to therapy. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm all right. Well, women tend to want to know more about what's going on with them, and I can see women being more open to therapy and being more open to different possibilities than men. And also, therapists, they tend to have biases and think, well, a woman may have more chance of having DID because of the whole Sybil thing and mass hysteria. Like hysteria, that's like a women's thing kind of thing, which is not true. But I'm saying that in the consciousness, they will see a woman more has DID more than a guy, and also because of women can get violated more. That is true. That sometimes a woman can be sexually touched or whatever. I mean, little trigger warning there, but a woman can get more violated sometimes more than a male. But it doesn't mean that's necessarily the truth. But in my opinion, I would say it's kind of equal. I think it will be equal, because I've met a lot of men with DID, and there's also a lot of women with DID. And so that question is kind of hard. I don't know the statistics on it, so don't quote me on it. But I would say the reason why women get diagnosed more is because they see more therapists than guys. And so that's just what I think. And if you have any idea why, please put it in the comments. Okay, now wait to the last question. If there was a pill to get rid of your DID, would you take it? Again, the question is, if there's a pill to get rid of your DID, would you take it? I would say no and yes, depending how the pill works. Let me bring you some more understanding of what I mean by that. Basically is that I love my headmates. My alters are my family. I cannot picture the world without my alters. Actually, if my alters would go away, I'll probably get really depressed, like really, really depressed, because they are my family. They're more than just, to me, they're not my mental illness. They are family. They're my headmates. They're my bros, and yeah, I just love them all. And so I would say, no, I don't want to take a pill to get rid of my headmates. Now, I will take a pill to get rid of the PTSD. Absolutely. I'll take a pill to get rid of the flashbacks. Absolutely. I will take a pill to get rid of the depression. Absolutely. And I will definitely take a pill to get rid of the dissociation. Absolutely, because dissociating sucks. But besides that, I would never take a pill to get rid of my headmates. I cannot see myself taking a pill to get rid of my alters. Even my prosecutors, even the alters that tend to do stupid shit, I won't want to take a pill to get rid of them, because I do stupid shit too, And so I would say no. I would say no. Unless there's a pill that's targeting specific symptoms that I hate, and even my alters hate, I would take those pills. but I will not take a pill to get rid of an alter. And so anyway, that's the end of this question and answers time. I'll be doing another video like this soon about question and answers that you may have. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments down. That'd be really great. And remember to like and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell if you want to know when we're gonna upload new videos. And oh yeah, by the way, we have a new intro. You may have noticed already. There's an intro I wrote the music. And a little bit about me, I'm a music producer. And I own a record label, a digital record label called Spin Up Records. And so check us out, Spin Up Records. We're on Beatport. And so, and it's an alter-driven record label. And so the artists you see on the label are actually my alters. And so it's an alter-driven record label. So please check us out again. It was called Spin Up Records. And so thank you very much, and bye-bye.